Good morning and welcome to Kramer's Corner. It is Tuesday the 5th of December. Market was fairly quiet in US yesterday, a little bit lower, just below the 4,600 here yesterday. So I think we will see a couple of days with a little bit of a correction towards the 4,500, but the uptrend will still be intact, and I think we will still end the year on a strong note. Nasdaq actually did test the support at 15,744, which is the upper part of that gap range here. We could see drift a little bit lower, but let's see if we can close below the 15,535 and then thereby closing in the gap. That could put the strong uptrend a little bit in jeopardy with the lower moves as a result, possibly down to around these levels here, where we have the 100 moving average coming up, and we also have the 55 coming up, adding some support. But let's see here the next couple of days, but I think we could see another test fairly shortly. We are indicated a little bit lower this morning in the here's the US NAS 100 CFD that is based more or less on the Nasdaq future. So that is a little bit to the heavy side. What is also really to the heavy side is the Hang Seng, or Chinese stocks in general. Here we have the weekly chart, and as in my previous update from last week, there's not really any strong support until around 15,000, 14,800 and a change. I think we will test this falling trend line here, and it's not really a strong support or anything. It's just a guideline merely. So we are in a free fall on Hang Seng. In the European markets, we have the EUROSTOXX 50. It actually formed this doji candle yesterday, and we could have seen a little bit of a setback, but we are actually starting the market or this morning on a positive note. So let's see where we end today, or we will get a correction. We are ripe for correction. We have a little bit high here on the RSI, but there's no divergence, so it does indicate we will see higher levels even if we get a little bit of a correction. But it looks fairly strong, the EUROSTOXX 50. What is also ripe for correction is the DAX index, very close to the 16,529. Did we touch yesterday? Not quite, but almost there. We can see RSI really at 80. That is quite overboard, and we should see a correction. We are very stretched on the uptrend, but it will probably just be a correction because there's no divergence indicating we could go higher in towards the year and also maybe into the new year, at least for the first week or two. But a little bit of correction would be nice there. It would give energy to the next move out. Amsterdam, resistance at 781 and support here around 760, 763. Stretch a little bit. What we can see also, there is a divergence here on the RSI. You can see that the peaks here, peak value here on the RSI is declining as market move higher. So that index is a little bit vulnerable, and if we break below this rising trend line here, then we could see a little bit of larger correction on the AEX. On the Belgian markets, didn't quite make it to the 36.22 resistance, dancing on this 35.75, and I think we'll see that here for the next couple of days, but a little bit to the heavy side. Can't really get the upside traction, but of course we are still in an uptrend. But there's some strong overhead resistance also with the 200 moving average coming down. We have CAC 40 also trying to get higher here, but 7,405, some strong resistance there. We should observe it. I think that we could also see a little bit of correction. But all in all, we are in uptrend, so it will probably just merely be corrections. SMI 20 from Switzerland, 10,963 level. There's some resistance around that, and that could be a little bit of struggle, but the strong one up here is 11,068. There is potential up to that, but we need to break this one, and we need to break at the falling trend line. Euro dollar is currently testing the 38.2 retracement and support around 108.25. Has been dipping down a couple of times, but the 200 moving average is still holding on. So we could move around here, turn around here. However, there's still a risk down to the 107.60 level. But if we can get a little bit of bounce here, then I think we will resume our trend on the euro dollar. Cable is being rejected at its key resistance and the 61.8 here, 127.20. A little bit of a setback down to around 125.45 as we talked about yesterday, possibly a little bit lower before next upwards move. There is a little bit of divergence here. You can see this peak here is lower than this one, whereas the no, it's not. Yeah, there is. Sorry, there is a divergence. So a little bit of correction could be seen on that one. Moving on to dollar yen, still holding on to the 38.2 retracement at 146.30. And if we can bounce back into the cloud, then it could be interesting. Can it actually get back above the resistance up there at 149.75? But that's probably be a little bit of a stretch. It is in a downtrend, negative sentiment, so it should move a little bit lower here in the coming days. The excuse me, the euro yen bouncing from the 100 moving average and the 786 retracement at 159 at 10. I think we will see a bounce there too. Let's see, did we actually close here? We are actually in a negative sentiment right there. So we could move lower. If it does take out the 157.50, well, then there is a room down to around 155. But let's see, I do expect we get a little bit of bounce back up here, maybe testing the upper rising trend line there. Also, so that's going to be interesting. Finally, on the when we're talking yen pairs, we have Aus yen currently below the 96.82 support. I think we could dip down to around the 95.85 support area. We have the 55 moving average giving some support there. So a little bit to every side, but we are our side still in a positive sentiment. So it could turn around again. The dollar index testing upper falling trend line, and I think it will be rejected here, and we could slide a little bit lower here in coming days. We are still in a downtrend with potential down to 102.20, possibly 101.62, where we have some strong support. So look out for that one. Even if it does break above, and then there's strong resistance at 104.40, that should be observed. Gold, massive day yesterday, more quiet today, but massive, first a massive spike and then collapse and closed at just below 2030 support area here, and the well, actually 50% of the entire uptrend. So we could see a little bit further downside to the 61.8 retracement at 2009. I'm not quite sure we will dip below 2,000, but some of the sellers probably will smell a little bit of blood if we do dip lower. But I think we will turn around if we do test that 61.8 retracement there. Then we could see a little bit of a further or some rebound from that level. On the on the silver, that also was hit yesterday, very close to the 38.2 retracement at 24.40. I think we also will see a little bit further downside pressure, but it is easing, but it's not unlikely it can slide a little bit lower towards the 24 level. But we still have this key level here around 23.78 to observe. I think we'll stay above that, and then we'll start picking up again the buyers. What is interesting on copper, also it did spike up but also collapsed, and now it's actually back below the 382.20 that has been the pivot for quite some time around this level here. So that's quite interesting. Uptrend is still intact, however, and it will remain intact until we actually do break below these levels here around 373. But quite interesting, can't really get that momentum to get to the 400 level. So that's quite interesting. I think we will see a little bit more weakness before buyers will come back in, but we can also see that the 200 moving average is actually declining. We have it right there. So, and that's where we are below. So it will be a struggle for copper to really get its mojo back and trade higher. The oil market, we have the WTI that tested the 72.65 support yesterday, bouncing a little bit this morning. So let's see if we can get back up here. I think we will see a little bit bounce back to back above the 75, but I don't see any upside to the 80 level anytime soon. We can see that the 55 moving average is about to cross below the 100 moving average, and they are both declining. So that would be what we call a death cross that can be observed here. We already have it on the Brent, and also very close to test the 77.25 support. So the underlying sentiment is bearish on oil. Finally, on yields, not much to report. Still caught in this range here between 436 and bounce from the 419, 420. I think it was 420 there, right there, yes. So, and I think we will stay there for a little while, maybe bouncing a little bit to test the 436, but I'm not quite sure we will get above that. I don't think we will get above the falling trend line. We will have a new situation if we do that, but we are in a negative sentiment there, really. All right, that's all for today. Thank you very much for listening. Have a nice day and happy trading.